After my sophomore year of college, I returned to my hometown to visit my parents. I spent a week with them and then took a bus to a nearby city where Amanda, my older sister, had moved. I would have liked to go by car, but I still didn't have the savings to buy one. I was supposed to spend another week on vacation with her and then returned to the outskirts of the university campus to resume my part-time job as a pizza delivery boy. I could never have imagined that the week with my sister would change me forever. My sister had graduated as a fashion designer and was trying to get a full-time job in a fashion company. So far, she was unsuccessful in getting that job and was working freelance selling the dresses she designed herself via the internet. So it was no surprise when she welcomed me into her apartment and I found molds, rulers and design books on 2 tables and on the floor as well. She was a passionate worker and I was surprised she hadn't been hired yet. Although I couldn't be sure that her designs were really good because I obviously didn't understand anything about dresses. Every now and then Amanda would send me pictures of the dresses she had designed to ask my opinion. I always complimented her via chat and told her that her work was spectacular, but I did it out of politeness and not because I knew anything about fashion. To be honest, I never understood anything about men's clothing, let alone women's clothing. I always dressed the way most men do, with simple pants and shirts, everything simple and with little design. And I only wore black, white or gray clothes, at most a blue or red plaid shirt. So I hardly understood technical questions about skirts or dresses. I only knew that my sister was trying very hard and had not yet achieved the success she deserved. My sister apologized for the disorder of her apartment and offered me coffee in her kitchen. The coffee was very good. We talked about our lives and she asked me how I was doing in my economics studies. I told her it was going well and carefully asked her about her job search. She smiled and told me that she had had a couple of interviews for prestigious companies and that they had arranged to call her. She didn't say anything, but I could tell from her expression that she wasn't very optimistic. So to cheer her up, I offered to help her with whatever she needed. As a first favor, she asked me to go to a room to get some large rulers and chalk to mark the outlines of her next dress. I went to get what she had asked for, and it was there that I found hangers and hangers from which hung at least a dozen colorful dresses. I was not used to seeing or wearing so many different colors, some of which I didn't even know the names of. At that moment, I got a little more upset because I felt that my sister deserved to be a famous designer and not a young woman who was frustrated. I picked up the items I had been looking for and noticed a mannequin wearing a stunning red dress. It was a vibrant red dress made with a lot of fabric. It gave me the feeling that it was a dress meant for a tall, beautiful woman. I went back to the kitchen with the rulers and chalk. My sister was distracted, her coffee cooling on the table. I could tell she was thinking about something that had her preoccupied. I asked her about the beautiful red dress I had seen moments before. She smiled and told me that the dress was her favorite, the design she was most proud of. She told me that it had been commissioned by a local drag queen. They had made an arrangement. The drag queen would take the dress for free in exchange for modeling the dress, so my sister could take pictures of her and send them to a fashion company. In addition, the drag queen could get compensation for the use of her image if the fashion company decided to use the photos commercially. And then my sister would be closer to getting a full-time job at that company if she managed to impress them. It was a win-win situation for all parties. But the drag queen hadn't returned for the photo shoots and wasn't answering calls. My sister thought she had abandoned the idea, and now there was no model for the red dress. I thought about it. I came up with a rather extraordinary idea. Something I would never have thought of before, but I was willing to help my sister in any way I could. This idea would unite Amanda and me forever. It would strengthen our relationship as siblings. I offered to be the model for her red dress. Drag queens are guys, aren't they? So it was a guy who should be modeling that big dress. And I was there, at the right time and place. If it would help my sister, then I was willing to wear a woman's dress for the first time in my life. My sister couldn't believe it. When I told her my idea, she justifiably thought I was joking. But when she realized I was serious, she accepted my idea and even hugged me to thank me. Amanda agreed that it was going to be difficult for a woman to fit into that long wide dress, and that it was going to be even more difficult to get a male model to wear a dress. So we got to talking about how we were going to carry out this plan. We left the matter for the next day and went out for dinner. During dinner we continued to further discuss the details of our collaboration. So the next morning we started our project. I shaved my face, and for the first time in my life I also shaved my legs. I sat on a stool. My sister helped me put on the red dress. You could tell it was a big dress because it fit me perfectly, even though I am a man of average build. It would have been too big for the average woman. Next was the makeup. My sister painted my cheeks red and did the same with my lips. Then she lined my eyes and applied orange shadow. She gave me a mirror to see how I looked, and I was stunned. My face looked completely different. I loved how my lips matched perfectly with the color of the dress. For the first time I understood why women wore makeup and why they liked to wear and combine so many colors. This was definitely much more fun than just wearing black, white or gray. Amanda started painting my fingernails red. We giggled together as we realized how I was almost completely transformed. She was proud of me for daring to do that, and I was proud of her for all her skills, which not only included design, but also makeup and styling. My sister helped me put on a brown wig and red women's shoes. We finally started with the photo shoot. My sister asked me to do a lot of cute poses in the living room, in the kitchen, and also on her balcony. Then we went to a town square, where she took pictures of me sitting on a bench and leaning on a tree. I had a great time at this photo shoot, not only because I felt cute, but also because I knew I was helping my sister. We went back to my sister's apartment. I had another coffee, and this time I was very careful not to smudge my nail polish or smear my lipstick. Anyway, Amanda touched up my makeup before taking the last pictures of the day. We went out to the emergency stairs. It was already twilight, and the color of the sky was very similar to the color of my painted eyelids. My sister placed a beautiful tiara on my head and took some pictures. I descended the steps of the staircase following my sister's instructions. I almost felt like a princess coming down the stairs of her castle to welcome her noble guests. We finished the photo shoot and went out to dinner to celebrate. The next day I helped my sister put together her digital portfolio. She would end up sending it to 4 different fashion companies. The portfolio consisted of photos of me in the red dress and photos of her mannequin wearing other dresses of hers. Of course we decided that this whole thing would be a secret between the two of us, and our parents were not going to know anything about it. Amanda ended up getting interviews with 3 companies, 2 of which made job offers. She accepted the offer from a lesser-known, but up-and-coming company. Her job makes her feel fulfilled, and her salary is more than decent. Of course she deserves that and much more. Interestingly enough, among the reasons for hiring her was the fact that they were impressed by my transformation into a beautiful woman. In fact, they contacted me by email so that I would agree to allow them to use my image commercially, and I was compensated accordingly. With that money and other savings, I ended up buying my first car. I had always wanted to have a black or silver car, but I decided to buy a nice red car. Red had become my favorite color, no doubt about it. Amanda's employer even went so far as to offer me to model on the runway for them. I turned down the offer because I don't feel ready for it, but I must admit that the idea sounded like fun. Even if I don't want to become a full-time model, it is certain that my brief experience in modeling had transformed me and my way of thinking. I learned to appreciate a broader palette of colors and started buying men's clothing in all colors, including pink shirts and t-shirts. I also asked my sister to make 2 dresses for me, 1 blue and 1 black. To this day both dresses are my favorite pieces of clothing. My relationship with my sister grew stronger than I could have ever imagined. Every now and then we get together for coffee and chat about our lives. And we always take the opportunity to buy women's clothes together, both for her and for me. We occasionally buy accessories, such as necklaces, rings and bracelets. But the most fun is when we buy makeup. I particularly love lipsticks and blush, especially in shades of red. I am proud of my sister Amanda's professional and personal development. She is the best sister a guy could have. The end.